Hey everyone, this is KokoBot here, and thank you for watching. I'm going to go ahead and start in just a minute here, and before I do, I want to explain one thing that in this game, Torum Online, most players believe that a mage is the best AoE character. In fact, some people go as far as saying that they will only party with mages most of the time. And a lot of the times you'll see people in shout asking for party members, but also saying mage only. And this primarily happens in AoE farming parties, such as at the Root Heroes, or in the Skeletons, in Zodska Ruins, or in the Goblins even. And it actually gets kind of annoying because other classes do have AoE capability. Mages are not the only class with AoE, although I do admit they are probably either the second or third, depending on how it's built, best AoE class there is in the game. But the first class that I want to talk about is the two-hand sword build, because if you build it correctly, you can definitely surpass the AoE of a mage. And I'm going to show you how to do that build right now. So I'm going to go into my stats and first show you a few things and then show you how I did it. So first you're going to notice that I have 1,562 maximum MP. And this is going to be shown how I did this in my equipment as well as in my skills and stats. But you can also see that in my stat build I have 170 points in strength and nothing else in any other stat. I have not even selected my personal stat yet. But when I do, I probably will be using crit, seeing as crits never miss. So that's a good balance to the lack of accuracy for a two-hand sword, because we don't put points in dexterity. So if you want to balance that out, you can always hit your targets with crits, which will also increase your damage output, so it makes for some pretty hefty DPS. But for now, you also want to notice that I have only 532 attack, even though I have 170 strength, and I'll show you why in just a moment. But remember that AoE farming doesn't necessarily need to have the highest attack power, because you're not trying to DPS to a boss with this kind of a build. This kind of a build is strictly for AoE farming, although it does have some pretty good DPS on bosses too, but it doesn't really match anything close to what a mage can do. I have to have a note here that mages are really OP at DPS on single targets because of reasons. So let's get on to it. First, I'm going to show you my skills. If you notice here, I have 8 skill points left, and I'm saving those up because the updates have not come yet, where the level 3 skill tree for the swords will come out. So because it hasn't come out yet, I'm going to wait and see what kind of skills are unlocked later. So for now, in my level 2 blade skill tree, I've only got hard hit, astute, and sonic blade to level 10. And down here, I've gotten all 3 of the passives, and I'll go over them really briefly. Hard hit, the skill info here, is at level 10. Brutally hit the target with the weapon, and you have a chance to make the target flinch. MP cost is only 100. So hard hit is a good move for a two-hand sword user to use, because you do want to be able to fight bosses as well, even though your primary focus is not boss farming. But this skill here also lets you flinch the target, which helps you to break the bosses. So you can actually do some boss farming with this as well. And you can easily break something because of how much power you have behind your attacks and when you're tapping the circle. Astute, even though this is for an AoE build, like I said, I do want to have some kind of DPS when I'm fighting bosses, so I'm somewhat useful in boss fights as well. So I put Astute to level 10, MP cost is only 200. Strongly hit the target in rapid motion, and critical rate plus 25% when this skill is activated. So basically this skill also buffs you and gives you critical rates, which actually will help with, like I said, countering the low accuracy of a two-hand sword character, and increases the DPS. So next is Sonic Blade, which is my favorite skill. MP cost is 200, so it's the exact same amount of MP cost as Magic Wall. and thrust enemies quickly moving toward them. Range and critical rate increase as the skill levels up. So right now the skill's at level 10, so the meters that it gets is 20 meters in distance. So that's a pretty wide distance compared to the magic wall, which is, probably even less than half of that distance. I would probably guess, I haven't really measured it, but I probably guess it's probably around 8 meters for magic wall at the most, or somewhere around there. I'll check it out later, but the point is that Sonic Blade gets a much wider range as far as where it hits its area. So because Sonic Blade has that wide AoE, it has much more of a potential to be used for AoE farming than Magic Wall does. And some people will argue that they can just use Blast, and things like that. But Blast costs more MP, takes a lot more time to charge, or to cast, I should say, and so on and so forth. Whereas Sonic Blade is instant, and you can use 3 Sonic Blades for every, 2 blasts. So initially, Sonic Blade is faster and easier. Plus, when you're using Blast, you also have the chance of getting hit and taking a flinch, which means you just wasted your MP, and now you're waiting another 500 years trying to cast the skill again. Anyway, so then we also have these 3 passives down here, which these are optional if you want them. They're not really required in this build, but I got them because, you know what? No, I have the extra points, so why not? So this one just increases the attack of 1- and 2-handed swords, which I think is useful. Then you have a Quick Slash, shorten the attack intervals of 1- and 2-handed swords, which is not necessarily as useful, but it's, I got it anyways. And Sword Techniques, learn the mastership of swords, the damage dealt of sword skills increases. So those you're going to want if you want to have, some significant DPS on single targets as well. But again, it doesn't match up to a mage's DPS on single targets. So on survival skills, you're going to see that I only have these 3 skills here. The first one being level 5 because you don't really need it, but you need to have it to get the other 2. And the other 2 are at level 10. So MP boost is level 10. It increases my max MP a little. And sober analysis, it increases the MP regeneration during battles, which is actually very helpful, especially for this build, and I'll explain to you why in just a moment. So now we're going to move on to my equipment here. And my equipment, you'll see my volcanic sword, which I crafted myself. And don't make fun of me, but I'm not the best blacksmith here. I have not fully leveled up my blacksmith yet, so I have yet to put any stat points into actual stats to increase the potential on my gear that I craft. But I've put most of my points into tech also because my blacksmith also doubles as a synthesis, and it's a long-term build. It takes a long time to actually get it, and I understand it's going to take a long time, but I also know that in the end it's going to be very rewarding to have a blacksmith / synthesis in the end. So later on, when I finish that, I'll be posting another video to show off the build for a blacksmith and synthesis character together in one. Other than that, we'll continue here. I have strength +4 and attack +4 on my sword, which I put on there. And it also has natural HP regen -3%, and that's because you have to put negative potential if you need to put more stats on there. So I did. But natural HP regen doesn't really matter in the middle of battles as far as I know. If I'm wrong, somebody comment and let me know. But as far as I know, natural HP regen is basically just your health regeneration while you're not in a battle. So putting that on your gear to increase the potential is actually a good idea because it gives you a pretty hefty amount of potential. But that's just a side tip. So continuing here, my favorite thing here is the Brutal Dragon Armor. I love how I dyed it white in both slot A and C. It has a slot as well, which I love. The armor's defense actually is higher, so it went to 31 instead of being its base defense at 27. But what I like about the BD armor is max HP +300. It comes that standard, along with a few other things which are not as significant but still helpful. The attack speed +5% and so on. But I also put a crystal here, HP +100, which I'll probably put something else there later. But for now, I figure, hey, survivability is pretty cool. So I put an HP plus 100 crystal there. So my Brutal Dragon armor is giving me a total of 400 extra HP, which is making me at 976 HP in total, which actually makes me pretty survivable, so I don't die in one hit when I'm fighting anything. Next, my other favorite piece of equipment here, which I also have dyed white, is the Magic Scarf. Magic Scarf has a max MP plus 100, natural MP regen plus 8%, and attack MP recovery plus 3. Now this might not also be the best option for boss farming, because natural MP regen doesn't really do very much. But in AoE farming, natural MP regen can actually be very useful, and I will show you why later in another video. But attack MP recovery is always good, and max MP, hey, more MP to use your skills. So this piece of equipment here is actually perfect for this build in the first place, because one of the things that you want to do in this build is focus on Sonic Blade, strength as your stats, and your equipment you're going to want to focus on MP recovery during the battle, or natural, either way. You just want to focus on your MP and strength and Sonic Blade. Those three are the key elements to a successful two-hand AoE build. And of course, I have the Magician's Ring equipped, which gives me max MP plus 1000, which is why my MP is so high. But it also gives me a handicap of attack minus 25% and magic attack minus 25%. Now the magic attack minus 25% I'm not too concerned about, because it doesn't really affect my damage as a pure strength build. I don't really have any magic attack. But my attack is actually cut down pretty heftily, which I'll show you right now. So right now, with the Magician's Ring on, I have 532 attack. But if I were to take it off, my attack goes up to 701. So you can kind of see why it's not a good idea to have Magician's Ring on during a boss fight. But when you're only killing small mobs that are not really, what's wrong button? That are not really dangerous, you know, or that don't take that much of power to kill them, then you can wear the Magician's Ring and it'll be fine. As long as you can still one-shot kill everything that you're hitting with your Sonic Blade skill, you're perfectly fine. Plus, Magician's Ring gives you 1000 MP, so that's an extra 5 times that you can use Sonic Blade. Sometimes what I like to do is, once I've burnt out all of my MP, I can switch to this Warrior's Bangle that I have, which gives me max HP plus 100 and more attack MP recovery. But I know that's not the best thing. That's just what I have. I might be looking to get maybe a muscle talisman, you know, or something like that, but I'll look into that later. So that's the gear that I have at the moment. That's my stat build, and that's my skills, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you choose to. If not, that's cool too. I will be posting all this information also on the guide that I've made in the spreadsheet on Google Drive, and that is shared with everyone. You can all view it. You can't edit it because I set it that way. If you would like to edit it, you know, message me. I posted my email and contact information in the guide itself on the front page, so go ahead and check that out. You can just Google search for KokoBots all-in-one guide, and that is all. I'm signing out. Thank you for watching.